This is Dads and Dunks, your To The Point Wolves Talk podcast. I'm Tom.
And I'm Josh.
All right, so the Wolves are out. The Spurs advance. A lot of big feelings, Josh. I think we'll go through how we're feeling, how the season went, and then looking ahead. Lots of questions for this Wolves squad. So first off, Josh, how are you feeling now that we've had a couple of days here to digest the Wolves exit from the playoffs?
It's always a tough time to think about this season when it just ended. You just lost, you're out. I think it's easy to be really negative. And there are definitely negative things. But if you think about it from that kind of perspective, that means there's only one team that would have a positive perspective, because only one team is going to win the championship. And I'm a Minnesota sports fan. I would love to see some championships from some of our men's sports teams, but I think you can have a good season without winning a championship. So it was an interesting season. I felt great winning that Denver series. Everybody picked Denver to beat us. Dante goes down, Ant goes down. Oh my gosh, we win that game. The IO 43-point game. Jaden talking crap, maybe having his best game of his career in the closeout game. That was awesome. And then I think we just ran up against a team that was better than us. Maybe it's different if Ant is 100% and Dante, I think his 3-point shooting would help, but I don't know. I just think that San Antonio was better than us. So I'm not really too bummed that we lost to them. I wish maybe individual players would have played better or certain matchups would have happened, but I don't know. We won 49 games. Ant missed 20. Some players grew, some players did not. I had an enjoyable season. How about you?
It feels weird to have it be over, especially this was our first season doing this pod together. So there was a cadence to there was a cadence to late Sunday night recordings for Monday drops and having games to watch and recap. And it's just feels a little weird to have it be over, but we'll have summer pods. We'll deep dive on some other topics. So make sure you're following so that you can see when those come out. We won't be doing a weekly recap, obviously, of games, so we'll dive deeper, but this will be sort of a preview or a window into some of that, some of the off-season stuff that'll have to happen so that the series
We're doing some fun stuff this summer. I'm excited.
Super fun stuff. Yeah, super fun stuff. It'll be new. It'll be fun. But the playoffs, of course, no one picking us to win that first series, and then taking the shine off of Jokic a little bit, having Rudy step up in such a big way, and the Jaden smack talk. We just have their number. This team was clearly designed to be able to beat them, and they just seem to mentally have the edge over them, regardless of personnel, because they have different personnel than they did the first time they beat them too, and the second time they beat them. So, but the Spurs, you ran up against a buzzsaw. Wemby is really good, regardless of the, some of the calls that he got, or that maybe were goaltends and some flops and things that took some of the shine off of him too, for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I used to really like Wemby, and I kind of feel like somebody says on Twitter, he's gone to the dark side. I'm like, yeah, I thought he was this pro ethical basketball guy. He said stuff, and I mean, he's amazing. I can't take that away from him, but man, it felt like he acted like he was the victim for just elbowing Naz in the neck, chest, and not getting suspended in a revenge game, when it's what's your revenge? You didn't even get suspended. You didn't get fined. I don't know. Sorry, tangent, but I'm down on Wemby.
We should talk a little bit about that. His coach stepping up and saying, "Oh yeah, well, he's got to defend himself again." And yeah, they were.
That was kind of wild for a coach to say.
They were hassling him and harassing him, but that's what you have to do against a player that's that big. You have to hound him.
Doesn't that happen to Ant every game?
Double team Ant. They're grabbing Ant all the time. That's what you do to a superstar player. And to your point about Ant again, bummer about him not being full health. I know he didn't use that as an excuse in his post game, but I think maybe we can jump there as a bit of a jumping off point for talking about off season. And I know we'll talk about end with players, kind of go through player by player and things that we saw that were hopeful at the end of this podcast. So it's not all doom and gloom on our pod today, but I think maybe start with Ant's post game comments a little bit, Josh. And I think maybe that could be a good jumping off point for us to talk about the off season and what we need to be doing next.
That's a great point. You are more of the post game comment expert usually than I am. But Ant had some. I think so. Transparently, Tom's family came over. We had a fun family hangout day yesterday, and we were watching them together while the kids were playing in the sandbox. You're like, oh, cagey comments by Ant. He was kind of asked like, what does the team need to do, or like, how are did the regular season like bleed into the postseason? And he was kind of like, no comment, or yeah, that's a problem. It's a question for somebody else. What does this team need? That's a question for somebody else. It's the first time where I think people have been like, oh, is he like upset? Like, ooh, like is this a problem? And I don't know. Like, I love your perspective, Tom. Did you think that was directed at like Finch or Conley or ownership or Julius Randle or hey, I'm just frustrated because I got knocked out of the playoffs and I'm injured?
When they asked him, do you think we need somebody else on the team? He did say no. He didn't say no question or
Yeah.
next question, or that's not something for me to answer. So he did answer that one, which means that I think maybe it's not as directed at the front office. He's a competitor and he just lost and was probably really pissed. And so I do think that you didn't get happy-go-lucky Ant because he's a competitor and he wanted to win and they just got absolutely embarrassed.
Yeah.
So I think that's got a big part of it. But when they asked him about whether they developed championship habits in the regular season, he's like, no. And like, what Ant himself was a part of that. So I don't know if he was frustrated with himself, frustrated that he had been injured, frustrated that they just didn't pull it all together in the way that they should have in the regular season. Either way, to your point, I think they're probably a little outmatched with the Spurs. A lot closer with Dante DiVincenzo, though. But to the
I
offseason point,
mean,
go for
it
it.
it it hurt that Dante and Ant were out against Denver. But Denver had just such a clear weakness of like, if we attack the paint, like we should be able to beat these guys, unless Denver would go crazy from three. Man, we could just do nothing in the paint. I think having Dante would have been a huge asset in the San Antonio series. I think to your point, like his ability to kind of not play dirty, but like
Muck it up.
muck it up, scrape, grind, like I don't know, get in there on possessions, go get a long rebound, take a charge, some of the stuff that he does that's maybe more like intangibles. I think that would have been helpful, but really just his ability to space the court. There's so many times where Ant was just doubled or even like they kicked, they drove, the defense collapsed, they kick it out, but like it's Julius Randle or it's Jaden who didn't have a good 3-point shooting series, or it's Terrence Shannon Jr. didn't have a good 3-point shooting series. Like if you would have had DDV able to just like, I mean, I don't know if we win the series, probably still don't, but it would have been nice to have our full complement of players. So I'm
It'd be
I'm pretty
nice to
bummed about
stop.
him.
You can stop the bleeding pretty quickly with a couple of Dante DiVincenzo quick trigger threes. The momentum
Yeah.
shifts pretty quick. It's like, okay, they're going on a little run. They've scored, 7, 9 in a row. And then Dante comes down and daggers a three. Then we get another, we drive, we kick, we get another three. It's like, okay, we're
Yeah.
we're here again. And when you can't hit those shots, the train keeps running, I think, when you don't have somebody to hit those daggers.
I know we're gonna get into like a lot of positives, but a real bummer for me was the fact that Ant missed like probably his most significant amount of time ever in a regular season. Like I just like watching him play, so that was kind of a bummer. Jaden getting hurt, but I think the fact that we lost to the Spurs, which I don't really think is like an indictment in itself. The Spurs are great; they're not a great matchup for us. But just the fact that we didn't get to like see our full team, like I think Ant was clearly diminished. We didn't have Dante. Like I would have really liked to like have like best on best. I don't know. I like playoff basketball. I would have liked to see like, okay, if we have Dante, like does that change things? Like what was it? Game 3 was like a close loss. Like okay, do we win game 3 because we have Dante? I'm not saying that we do. Like I'm not trying to be like a sore loser. I would like to see us at our like fullest powers because I think that helps inform what you need in the offseason. And another huge bummer is we're not going to probably have Dante all of next year. So even though you're thinking about like our team and who we have, you're like, oh well, one of our starting guards is just probably not going to play next year. Um, and I also think back to what you talked about, like the question to Ant about championship habits during the regular season. I would say one of the biggest bummers of the season for me is that like even though our young players I feel like are getting more in their prime, they're becoming more mature. We still like let go of the rope in the regular season. We still lose to teams that we shouldn't lose to. It looks like sometimes we just don't try hard. And I know I'm the resident Finch hater on this podcast. I don't know, like, is that a Finch thing? Is that like our roster? Like, Rudy's a vet, Julius is a vet, Conley's a vet. I would say DDV's a vet. Ant's played 6 years. Jaden, Naz, we're not really playing rookies. I don't know, like, why isn't that changed? Why is that still an issue for us?
It's a good question. We had questions all season around what is this Wolves team's identity. It was always, we're going to be a really great defense and we're going to be like good enough on offense. And there's been a bit of a shift in all those non-Rudy minutes throughout the years. Like, we can't play defense at all. But you have enough athletes out there that you should be able to play defense. So why is that coaching? Is that just a will to defend? Because honestly, I think the will to defend, you saw people step up in the playoffs with that will to defend, Terrence Shannon Jr. being one of them. So as a bright spot later on, I don't know, man. I think we saw how far we can get with this team as constructed and without DDV and even with a healthy Anthony Edwards. So I think that sort of brings me to what do we do here? Resign Io. Obviously, he's going to want a big payday, but now he knows that we need him now more than ever without Dante, and I think that was the plan all along, was to resign Io. But he's not a true point guard, but we need him. Beringer showed flashes. I think we're going to need him to play more because we obviously are going to need to be sitting Rudy if we keep Rudy, or offloading Rudy for talent. So I think, do we want to start with what is the biggest weakness that allows us to get over the hump in the West, because or compete in the East and then take the West on in the finals? One of those two things. Like, what? Because I was always like, do we need a backup big? Do we need a point guard? Do we need another wing? Now I think we've got that, like, slasher point guard wing. We got TJ's ascension. He was so good early in the preseason. We're like, yeah, Terrence Shannon Jr. is going to be great, and then he just was a dud, and he was hurt. So I think maybe part of that was injuries early in the season too, or nerves. But he showed up big in the playoffs, man. I mean, he got blocked a lot, but his downhill, I think we've talked about this before. If he can just get that left hand behind his back and do everything in his life right-handed, is what I want to see Terrence Shannon Jr. doing. Like not even just basketball. Like, I want to see him writing with his right hand. I want to see him drinking his coffee with his right hand. Literally just everything, cooking. Just keep the left hand behind your back all off-season, TJ Shannon. But so that's a bright spot. But what is the biggest weakness here? Because I think I know what it is, and I don't know how we get there, but I'll toss it to you.
What's our biggest weakness? Well, you feel like you know it, so I'm curious to hear what you have to say. But I think that we're like a really good team, and we can beat bad teams and marginal teams, and we can beat really good teams sometimes. Ants on fire. I just think Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert don't really work together on the court at the same time. And I know people talk about, like, well, the defense with the defense with Julius and Naz was terrible. I'm not disagreeing, but I just feel like there was no space when you got both those guys on the court. I feel like Julius has shown that I don't really know if he can be a number 2 for a championship winning team. The playoff series that we've lost with him, like, he's just been a 0. I think he had 9 assists in 6 games against the Spurs. His shooting percentages were terrible. His body language was terrible. And I love Rudy. But I think then it's like, who do you get more value from? Again, what's our biggest weakness? I think the front court's a problem. I think if you play Naz instead of Julius, I just like the way Naz plays. I think it's more fun to watch the Wolves when Naz is on the court than when Julius is. Like, I just enjoy the basketball more. But I think I know where you're going with this, and I think it's that we need, like, a true point guard. And so, like, I would love to find a way to offload Julius, and maybe it's more than just Julius, but to, like, almost take, like, a front court asset and put it into a backcourt asset, ideally a point guard asset. Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, that's what you wanted to do all season when we were talking about it. I was like, hey, you just need a backup big when Rudy's not out there.
I said I want to keep Nah, and I wanted to not re-sign Julius. So
Yes. But
that's what I
then,
said.
during the season, when we were talking about what they need at the trade deadline episodes,
Yeah.
you were pretty keen on moving on. And we actually, the value for Julius early in the season, much higher. We got to talk the Julius Randle arc maybe before I get to this. But man, he started off so hot. Everyone was so excited. He really stepped up when Ant was out. What was that about? How, like, where's that Julius? Because that is not the Julius we saw in the playoffs. And granted, it's the playoffs. It's against Wemby and the Spurs. It's a completely different team. But man, the energy, the like dominance. He
Yeah.
just came out like he came out with the alpha mentality early in the season, and that was not his mentality late in the season.
I mean, even in the regular season, though, when we beat the Spurs, that one game, I can't remember if it was in January, and like I think we were up by a basket, and Wemby had the ball, and like Julius was guarding Wemby and was like being physical and not letting him get to his spot and held him to like a tough jumper. Like I thought Julius played pretty well, played pretty great defense against Wemby in that game, and that made me hopeful that when we played them in the playoffs, like he could really be like a physical force on Wemby, and maybe that means Rudy can lurk or Rudy could be on somebody else. It did not work putting Rudy on Steph Castle. That wasn't a great decision, but I don't know. He was also shooting the ball really, really well at the beginning of the season. Like I think we had an episode where we talked about like every month his 3-point percentage went down. And in the playoffs they were just kind of like letting him shoot it. They're like, yeah, please shoot. The opposing team, please shoot this Julius. I don't know. I don't really like the way he plays basketball. It's not very like pleasing. It's like crash into guys, and if you think you can hit the shot, shoot it. Otherwise, like whip a fastball to the corner and like hope somebody catches it. And if they don't, he gets so frustrated. Um, I mean, I think we'll do a pod more about like the like the end of the year interviews I had with the players, but like a lot of the guys talked about like fighting the moodiness and like not being moody and like not giving into it, being happy for other players on the team. And they didn't say Julius's name, but I feel like just from being a fan and watching, like he seems to be the guy who doesn't do that. He was also the only guy who didn't do the end of season interviews, only rotation player. Also, like in some of those San Antonio Spurs games, like the whole team is huddled around Finch in a timeout, and like Julius is just sitting by himself. I think John Krasinski reported that like it really messed with him when we didn't trade for Giannis, but Julius was kind of in those trade rumors. I mean, maybe that had an impact. I don't know. I get nervous about losing my job sometimes. Like I still perform, so like step up. I don't know, but I'd be happy if he wasn't on the team.
Yeah, biggest weakness is a point guard for me, and Julius Randle is the easiest person to ship out to try to bring in some sort of
Mm.
assets necessary to get a point guard, but I don't know what his value is at this point I think he could be not maybe a 2 but a 2B. Like if there was a team with a solid player and he gets to be your third best, occasionally your second best player. I think Julius is still that in the right system. He does not play fast. He does not play with pace, and who doesn't like to play with pace? You have Rudy who clogs the lane. The team as constructed, which is not Finch's fault, does not work. Um, you can blame Finch for not
And
calling timeouts when you don't have a point guard on the court, though.
I mean, again, I don't know if this is a Finch thing or a point guard thing, but I feel like Ant has to work so hard for his shots. Like the quality of his shots that he's hitting. Like I think we want to talk about positives would be like Ant's clutch time performance and like the mid range game that he's added. But like just the difficulty of getting to those spots or hitting those like turnaround mid range like fadeaway jumpers. Like man, we can't get him like an easier shot than that. I know he's amazing and he has a lot of attention, but I know Finch is free flowing and blah blah blah, and that works sometimes. But sometimes it just looks like Ant is working so hard. Like to your point, would a point guard help with that? Or is this like we need to be more structured or like what is it? But also like having Julius and Rudy in the paint. I mean, Ant's a great shooter. Like props to him for developing that skill, but he's also one of the 5 best athletes in the NBA. Like let's attack the rim. But it's really hard when Rudy's sitting there, so the 5 is sitting there. Julius is there, so the 4 is there. Like he's going through 4 guys half the time. Like let's find a way to like break the paint, get him on the second side, attacking. Like I'm sure his eyes would light up.
He makes the most ridiculous shots of any player in the NBA. His little stutter step back three shooting threes over Wemby. The man is
It's
insane,
insane.
but he shouldn't have to do that all the time. And to a
Yeah.
point guard would be helpful, but this gets to the point where who's the point guard and can you get enough assets? Then are you offloading Rudy to get the assets you need? Which it seems like yes, if you want a
Mm.
star point guard or guard alongside Anthony Edwards. Then is Beringer ready? Is he's at 20 years old next year, right? Is he ready to step into that role? The only way to know is maybe to give it to him, but it feels like one more year with Rudy and Johan getting 15 minutes a game, something like that feels like the right trajectory for Beringer to not have to be in just yet. But I also Remy has his friend over,
Sounds like a
Mav.
dinosaur is upstairs.
Yeah, Maverick is yelling. Hey, Mav. Mav listens to the pod though, so I'll give Mav a shout out. It's okay.
Shout out,
Our,
Mav.
our our youngest fan, our almost 9-year-old,
Well,
Tiani.
and when you think about that, like trading, I would like to keep Rudy for another year. I felt like in the regular season, like we won so many games because he just like didn't let us lose. He played great defense, got a ton of boards. Um, I'm excited by Beringer. I think he's got a ton of potential. I think he's a great athlete, such better hands than Rudy. Like he can do a lot more in those spaces, but I kind of think you need to keep Rudy for another year. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess it depends on what you get for Julius, but if you get rid of Julius and that becomes a point guard or somebody who plays, 1 through 3, you shift Naz in the starting lineup. I think a lot of those spacing issues are gone because now you've got a 3-point shooter, somebody who moves the ball, who's quick, to make decisions. Yeah, Rudy is down there, but like he's in the dunker spot. Maybe this point guard that we add is good at throwing the lobs. But he helps also protect that point guard on defense. But I also think that like Jaden could play a little bit more for. Like I know he's a great defender on the perimeter, but I think he's a really good weak side rim protector. I think if you've got Rudy and Beringer playing the 5 minutes, if you've got Naz playing the 4, and then maybe Jaden's playing a little bit, I think Shannon should play this next year. So maybe he's playing some 2 or 3 off the bench. I mean, he can handle like a 1, but he's not a point guard. I did like that he played a lot better defense against the Spurs. That's always been the thing that Finch has kind of ragged on him for, and he probably drew more charges than the entire team. And I feel like he moved really well with Dylan Harper. He only could really physically match up with him besides Ant. He kind of dies on screens, but I was impressed with the development. So I think all those guys need minutes. I'm so bummed that DDV is probably not playing next year, but is there like a particular point guard or like an archetype of a point guard that like you think would be the best type of running mate for Ant?
I want Kyrie.
You want
I
Kyrie Irving?
want Kyrie. I don't know what we have to give up for Kyrie. I don't know how healthy Kyrie is. I know he's a head case, but he would be our head case. And at that point, if he's performing and freeing up Anthony Edwards, because if he is 95% of himself, almost, or like I'd take that any day. Somebody who can break the pressure, collapse the defense, kick it out to your shooters. Maybe we need to get another bench shooter without DDB, somebody else who can just come in and knock down shots occasionally too. But that
I
can
think
be
Malik Beasley's out of prison or not being investigated anymore. Whatever happened, like he's familiar with the area.
yeah. I
Pass.
yeah, I don't know, but Io can knock down open threes. He's not a make your own. He's not a DDB 3-point shooter, but he can be out there and knock him down. Ant obviously can knock him down.
We
It'd be
got to
nice.
reside Io.
It'd be nice to get a point guard who can make a pass, swing the ball, get the defense in a blender, get them moving, not just somebody who can get the ball up most of the time without getting it taken from them. Like somebody who's like not just a neutral, but a positive at point guard. And Io's not a point guard. We were really heavy at the 2 guard, like Io and DDV and Ant, even Terrence Shannon Jr. to an extent are all really twos for the most part. And so I'm hopeful that we can re-sign Dante and obviously for less money than he would have gotten so that in the playoffs next year or the year after, he can be back and be himself. Cause I think his attitude and his energy on the team, in addition to his 3-point shooting, were really important for us. And if we don't have him, we need somebody else to be that person. Io tries really hard, but if you were to offload Rudy, then you also have your professional attitude of Rudy's gone. Io's that guy, but he's not necessarily as the scrappy, like get every loose ball, track down the rebound. break your nose, come back in and knock down shots kind of player either. So I'd be curious what the makeup of the team looks like.
Well, that's why, I'm so curious. We struggle in some of these regular season games that we shouldn't. We get down in games before we like start to try hard again. Like, is that a coaching thing? Is that like our players? Is that like an ant thing? Like whatever that is, like that's got to get fixed. Um, so I don't know. I'm really curious. I love Io. I think he's good for the culture. To your point, Rudy's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, who's already made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career. Like, I think people just respect that probably differently than somebody like Io, who again is great, tries hard, hustle, plays good defense. Um, and if we think about assets too, so the Wolves have the 28th pick in the first round because we made the swap with Detroit, excuse me. And then we have the second to the last pick in the second round, pick 59. So we'll talk about the draft later. It's a deep draft when it comes to point guards, but I don't know if you can expect to get a playoff starting point guard with the 28th pick in the first round. So I think the trade route is probably the route. It's also kind of interesting to me, like when we beat Denver, everything was like, oh, Denver's got to blow it up. Like it's over, right? Like they can't do it. And then we lose to San Antonio and everyone's like, oh, they got to blow it up. Like it's over. And Denver's a little bit older. Like, I don't know. We have some guys who are a little bit older. The ticking clock is always like Ant's going to ask out if we don't win it. But I just find that interesting. I mean, I understand like in this next round, OKC, San Antonio, whoever loses, you're probably not telling them to break it up because those teams are so young. But it is interesting, like, oh, they lost, break it up. I mean, even like when the LA Houston, it was like, oh, break it up. When LA lost to OKC, oh, break them up. That's just kind of what we do because it's like winner, it doesn't matter. But I agree with you. I do feel like our team, like we've found our ceiling. This team probably can't win a championship unless there's some different players or we play a different way or certain players unlock some abilities or some skills that we just haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and I think that last piece is possible, but you can't bank on everyone's growth being the only thing that puts you over the top because every other team is also going to be working on growth in the offseason.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but maybe that brings us to positives. I want Kyrie. Kyrie, come on. I want Kyrie. That's I'm putting that back out into the world again. But before we move on, but back to positives, reasons for hope. Anthony Edwards every offseason has got something new. His clutch shooting this year, the 3-point shooting before that, with the mid-range shooting too. He's developed his footwork, his game. He's diagnosing defenses, beating defenses. Granted, he's getting pressured a ton, but he's for the most part seeing it and being able to get out of it. So that I think Anthony Edwards' ascension was a super big positive, and he'll take care of his body. In his post-game presser, he said, I'm going to worry more about making sure my body's right this offseason. And he's like, I'll develop something. I don't know what yet. Where I think before previous seasons, he knew kind of what he was going to work on. I think it was right after the loss, but I think he'll get in the gym again. The reason for Beringer, I don't think it's just like local fan, like rose-colored glasses with Beringer. He looks like he can be a really good player in the NBA. I don't know if he's going to be 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA, but he's got a skill set and an athleticism that him, along with Ant and Naz and TJ and Io, that's athleticism. That's and I mean, that's the reason we beat Denver is we were significantly more athletic than them. And you swap out Rudy for Io at some point, or sorry, Rudy for Beringer at some point. I think you get even more athletic. You give TJ more time. You give Io more run. That feels to me, those are the positives. Some of the like real positives. Io was more than we could have asked for. TJ coming on strong at the end of the season. Naz looking better in the playoffs than he had looked during the regular season too. Naz ended up showing people that he could be a starter on this team, and he should be. And he'd be a cheap starter. He's an expensive bench player, but I said this earlier in this when we got Io too. If Io's coming off the bench as your sixth man, like he could be sixth man of the year. Io's that good. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of positives. I don't know if you want to talk a few positives too, or other trade targets we can before we get into positives. But I just think we need a guard, and then maybe if we're offloading multiple people, we need another we need another stretch big if Berenger's not quite ready, but I don't know.
I agree with everybody said. I mean, to me, Ant's ability to just dominate in the clutch. I know he didn't win Clutch Time Player of the Year, but man, he was so good in the clutch. Like every time the game was close, I'm like, oh, we're gonna win. Like he's just gonna figure out a way. I love that about him. The mid range game, I feel like really added an element where like he's just unstoppable. There's nowhere where he can't score. I agree with Naz, TJ, IO, Beringer. I would add Jaden. I feel like Jaden was better defensively than he was the year before. I feel like his offense has grown a lot. I know he shot really well from three in the regular season, very poorly in the playoffs. I don't know if he's like a great 3-point shooter. I kind of think he's not. I think he's okay, but his handle got better. His ability to attack in transition with like IO and Bones has really been accentuated. I feel like he makes good decisions with the ball. He's probably one of the best guys to pass to Rudy. But I feel like that like kind of in between game when he gets a guy who's shorter than him, like he's really taken advantage of those matchups. Like you can't hide your worst defender on Jaden. Like he's gonna kill that guy. So I think that's been really big. I feel like Rudy played a lot better defensively this year than he did last year. I know Wemby wiped the floor with Rudy, but Rudy played great against Jokic. And I know, again, a little shine off Jokic, but Jokic is a 3-time MVP. He's probably one of the best offensive players of our generation. And I thought Rudy did a really great job against him. Um, Neither of us mentioned Julius Randle, but I'm going to mention a guy that you didn't mention. I'm surprised. I think Bones played better than a vet minimum contract. I don't think he's great, but I think if he's on your bench and he's, I don't know, your fourth guard, like he's getting maybe one stint in the first half and one stint in the second half. And if he's hot, maybe he stays in. If he's not, that's not his game. But I thought him with Io, like pushing the transition was really helpful. He could hit big buckets. He's definitely not afraid to take a shot. He's probably somebody who like you play when Ant's not out there, maybe similar to Shannon, but for a minimum contract, I thought he was good. And I'll be interested to see if they keep Kyle Anderson. I think it's tough when, like, again, Rudy and Julius are non-shooters. You can't really put Kyle out there. You have no spacing. But if one of those guys or maybe both those guys are gone, I think Kyle is a good backup because he can handle the ball. He's a smart vet. He plays good defense. He's probably not going to cost very much. I think the team likes him. So I thought that was kind of a cool pickup too.
Yeah, all three of those I did not mention in my list. Bones is super fun. You root for a guy like Bones Highland to play well. And to your point, when he's hot and he comes in, he's not afraid to take a deep three and to do his celly run down the floor. I think the energy that he brings is super positive. I like that because this moodiness of
Yeah,
his team, the
that's a
team
good
that can
point.
get down on each other, he just brings levity to the team all the time. And that kind of player is the kind of player that we do need on this Timberwolves team. Sometimes Anthony Edwards can bring that, but he was hurt and he was getting pressured so much that there was less joy out of Anthony Edwards down the stretch than I think I'd seen previously.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I feel like it was also weird because he just always plays. I mean, he's missed more games this season than he missed all of his other seasons, all his other 5 years put together. And so just for him to like not be playing, even though he's on the bench a lot of the times, like for just him not to be there, it felt like we were really like missing something. And again, we're questioning maybe his leadership isn't where it needs to be. Why are we losing certain games, whatever? But I do feel like that positivity that like he's just it's infectious. I don't know. It's like you want to play with him. You want to make a big play. He wants to make a big play. I think that's a really good point. I would love to have more of that on our team.
Yeah, get back to playing with some joy on this team and Io. For as good as he is, he's not outwardly joyful player, but it sounds like the team really likes him and he's fun behind the scenes. And I don't know, he jokes around in his interviews and stuff too. So I like him. He joked after uh um after Wemby. I think it was thinking after Wemby when who was it? Draymond was like, the Wolves got to get back at him or something like that. Io made a joke about it. I'm like, what's your focus for this game? He's like, something about like revenge or something. He's like, no, I'm just kidding. We're going to play like ethical basketball here. So I like Io too. Yeah, I think you can keep slow-mo on a cheap deal no matter what. I think he's a pretty good glue guy, but to your point, he can't shoot. And Rudy Yeah, and Julius no longer can shoot either. So I think we know the writing on the wall with Julius Randle. All maybe Finch finally realizes that uh, you know, it's time because he was Finch's guy, which is weird.
So I'm gonna ask you a couple quick questions. Do you think Finch is back for next year?
Yes.
I do too. Do you think? Okay, so if we think about, let's say our top 7 are Dante. I know he can't play; but he's on the roster. Dante, Ant, Jaden, Julius, Rudy, Naz, Io. Those are like our 7. Do you think if I put the over under at like 5.5 guys are back, would you say over or under?
That's to be under is 2 of those players.
To be under would be 3 of those guys are gone. Or yeah, 2 of them. 2 of them. Sorry, yeah.
2 of those guys. I think we get Dante on a decent deal and keep him, and I think we get rid of Julius, and I think we keep. I think we. Yeah, I think we. People are gonna hate it, but I think we keep Rudy for another year. People
I
hate
don't think
Rudy.
people hate that, man. I
I just
think
think he gets a lot of hate. Maybe things had come around this year because he's been getting more love, and after he shut down Jokic, maybe there's more love for Rudy. But I would say early in the season, maybe
yeah.
more so than later in the season, there was still a lot of Rudy hate.
He's really good, and part of it is like if you trade him, like, are you gonna get the value that you need back? Like he does a lot of important things for our team. He's a great rebounder, great rim protector. Probably just those 2 things, but he's really, really good at those things. He's better at other things too, but like his warts are so loud, but the things he's good at are so important. I mean, he always anchors top 5 defenses. Um, I don't know. Like, you'd have to really get value to get rid of Rudy. And he's not on a max contract. I mean, he makes a little bit more than Julius. Wouldn't
Is
you
the
say
team?
Julius?
I guess is the team better next year if it's Ios as the starting guard alongside Anthony Edwards, and we still have Rudy, or is the team better with Beringer starting at 20 years old and a Kyrie Irving if you can get enough for him starting alongside Anthony Edwards?
I'd be interested to see what Tim Conley does. Also, like, does this Giannis stuff pop back up? Like, do they go for, like, a star? I mean, Kyrie's really good, but, like, I wouldn't say Kyrie is in, like, Giannis's
No,
upper echelon at this point in his
no.
career. But, like, do they go for somebody like that? Or, like, I've seen things about, like, Kawhi Leonard. Like, I don't know how you get Kawhi Leonard. Also, like, why is Kawhi Leonard, like, in the Clippers? Why is he not in trouble? Like, did a fake, like, $30-40 million sponsorship. Like, what are they going to do? But yeah, like, do they go for, like, a star and kind of, like, deplete depth? Or do they do something that's not, like, on the margins, but, like if you got, like, a CJ McCollum point guard, it's like, this is probably a value add. You probably had to give up Julius or Rudy, maybe some picks, but, like, you probably still have Jaden and Naz and Shannon. Like, you didn't gut your team. I'm curious to see, like, what route they go.
I like CJ McCollum. I'd take that.
I think
Uh,
he's a good player. I mean, he's
but if
not
you're
good at
getting
defense.
no, but if you're giving up Rudy, then in that I don't think you can give up Rudy then because
No,
then you'd have no defense left. Well, not no defense. Not Beringer can play defense, but you know what I mean. I think that
I
if you're
think
getting
Rudy's more valuable than CJ McCollum,
yeah,
personally.
yeah,
But, like, do other people feel that way? Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. If I'm giving up a Rudy, then I'm probably wanting, like a Kyrie.
yeah. And that's why I think if you can get rid of Julius and your first and your second, and I don't know, some bench piece for CJ McCollum or something, then you're still in a decent spot. But
I'm interested
but
to
but
see,
does that
like,
move the needle? Does that put you over the Spurs? And OKC? That's why they. Oh man,
that's why, okay, I said this to you when you were over yesterday. I said, would you ever trade Ant? And you're like, no, absolutely not. Never, never. And I'm not saying I want to trade Ant. I love that guy. I think he's amazing. But if you're like, we can't win in this window, do you, like, kick the can down the road, accumulate assets? Probably not, but I think people will talk about it at some point.
yeah. The answer is emphatically no. You want a
I agree.
stadium. You want the fans to be all in on your team. You do what they. I mean, you'd get a lot more assets than the Mavs got for Luca, but
Better.
But still, your fan base would be pissed because you're not guaranteed anything in return.
What if we
Like
could get Anthony Davis from the Wizards? Would you want him?
for who?
I don't know. I know.
Anthony Davis is hurt all the time too.
I know, but he's good.
Yeah, he's good when he's healthy.
Okay. What else was I going to ask you? I had a really good question. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Okay. So we picked, when we did our playoff picks, we picked the Wolves to win the NBA championship. So now that it's going to be Spurs Thunder, who do you think comes out of the West?
I was actually going to ask you who you're rooting for, not who you think it's going to be. I have to root for the Spurs just because I want OKC to be devastated and feel pain. I don't want
think
them
I'm rooting
to
for the Spurs too. I mean, I still like them more than OKC. Wemby definitely pissed me off this series. I thought he was more ethical, not such a whiny guy, but I don't know. I feel like I'm also irritated every time we play a team. I'm like, I end up like their like Q score for me goes down, and then after we play them, I like them again. I want the Spurs to win. Also, like, I just don't want a dynasty. You know, like if OKC wins again, like I'd rather it's just like more parity, and then it's like the Spurs win. Like, can OKC come back? Do people make changes? So I'd be rooting for San Antonio, but I do think whoever comes out of the West is going to win the championship, which is wild. It's wild if Wemby would win a championship at 22. Holy crap, he might end up being like one of the 3 best players of all time.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see Wemby's ascension. We didn't talk a whole lot about Wemby. He was really, really good. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time. I'm curious to see if teams find ways to attack him differently or if there's ways as he grows. But at that height and that athleticism, there's just not a lot you can do. But we did go 6 games. Not that this was a close series, but a Wolves team can compete with them, and so he's super young still. He's going to grow in his game, but it's not like he's unstoppable.
Hopefully he keeps growing and gets taller, and then he gets hurt more. Hopefully he gets taller, he keeps growing. That'd be great. I'm surprised they didn't like try to attack his body. Like Naz had, to your point, Naz had like one really good, like went into him, got the layup, Ant did it a few times in game 6, but like they just kept trying to like out-length him and like go around him. Like he's 7'6". You're not going to go around him. That was just kind of wild to me. And Wemby's amazing. He totally changed the series. That guy's probably going to win like 10 Defensive Player of the Year awards. But Dylan Harper is also really good. Like that guy is probably going to be an all-star, maybe all-NBA. Stephon Castle is really good. That guy's probably going to be an all-star. De'Aaron Fox has been an all-star. Keldon Johnson was 6th man of the year. I don't know if he's 6th man of the year, but he's like a good player. Champagne's a good shooter. Cornette's a good backup big. Harrison Barnes doesn't even really play. He's a good player. They got a good team.
Yeah, and every year it shakes up, and every year somebody else wants a contract, and they got to move players and shift things around.
Yeah.
So the next couple of years, things will look different. I just cannot handle OKC and their arrogance anymore. So rooting for the Spurs, and then the Spurs to lose in the championship. That's what I'm rooting for. Speaking of which, there's a game tonight. We gotta. Well, when people are listening to this, the game will have already been over. Be watching
Cleveland, Detroit, game 7, right?
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win?
Detroit.
I like Detroit better, but I kind of think Cleveland's going to win. But they have James Harden. He just always chokes, so I should probably go Detroit.
That's why. And I like Cade. I want Detroit to win, and I'd love to see Detroit make a deep run.
Cool.
All right, anything else we got on this one? I think we're wrapping. It's about 45 minutes in here. I think we probably stick to our mantra, being a To The Point Wolves Talk podcast. You can follow, rate, like, subscribe, and tell a friend.
Yes, if you have ideas for topics this summer, email us, dadsanddunks@gmail.com, or hit us up on Instagram, dadsanddunks, or Twitter, dadsanddunks. We have some fun stuff planned, but would love to hear from you all. So thanks for listening. We'll keep doing stuff in the summer. Go Wolves. Get healthy. Boo OKC.
Go Wolves.
Go Wolves.